Hello everyone, you are about to listen to the teaching of Manna Worship Center. We hope that you will learn from the message you are about to hear and to realize that books will inform, but the Bible has the power to transform you. Now sit back and open your mind and heart for God to speak to you.
Don't grumble against one another. I'm taken from James chapter 5, verse 9. And it essentially says, don't grumble against one another, brothers and sisters, or you will be judged. The judge is standing at the door. When I got this statement, well, not even got, there was a list, and we got to choose which ones we wanted to do. And I picked this one, and I didn't really understand. After I told the pastor which one I wanted to do, I went home, just like, why am I doing this one? But I was like, okay, Kandia. I was like, there's so many others that I could have chosen. But after doing the research on it, I know why. I looked at what was the background for this verse, but the book of James. And he was writing to the Jews who were believers and followers of Jesus Christ as the Messiah. And at a time when they were being persecuted for their beliefs, a time of affliction, and even looking more into it, they would have had to flee and go to different areas to live. They had to leave their homes and some of the people that they knew. And they were being persecuted by other Jews, people that, in my mind, I'm just like, okay, so this would have been the possible family, friends, neighbors, people that they had personal relationships with, and just for their beliefs. And I could see that if I was in that position, I would have probably complained as well. I would have felt like it was unfair, it wasn't warranted, and it would have just been very easy. But then James was also telling them, recognizing that there's strife going on just amongst these Jews as well. Jealousy and envy and lusting after earthly treasures that are corruptible. But James reminds us that when we go through moments of frustrations, anger, disappointment, when our relationships with our brothers and our sisters are tested, those moments when people's faults seem really glaringly obvious, don't grumble against them, don't complain. When we grudge, I looked at grumbling and what it consists of, and I realized that, when we grudge people, when we're grumbling against persons, we speak out of condemnation, we speak out of strife. And in those moments, we speak words that are not uplifting or encouraging about that person. We tear them down based on the faults we see in them. And these same faults may very well be a reflection of the faults that exist in us as well. So I looked at Matthew 7:3, which says, why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? And it hit me, and this has hit me before, and I thought of the moment where I felt like it really applied to me. And this is personal, but this was when I first got married, my first year of marriage. And that first year, I tell my husband, it does not feel like how people describe the first year to feel like it's supposed to be this honeymoon period where everything is blissful. And I didn't realize that, I was moving into someone that, yes, there were faults, but I didn't have to live with the faults constantly. So there were many times and many areas to complain about. And it was a very steep learning curve for me, as I'm sure it was for him, because he would tell me it wasn't easy for him either. But it was a very steep learning curve in how I related to a person that I said I loved. But everything that was wrong about him was constantly in my face because I'm now living with him. And there were many complaints, and he had his complaints about me as well. Some of my complaints were initially thoughts in my head. I'm like, oh, there is a laundry basket. Why can't the clothes just go to the laundry basket? And it was very small things that that would manifest into big things. And there were thoughts, but I looked at James 3:13, and it says, our inner works and our thoughts are revealed by our words. And if we have bitterness and strife within us, then it'll eventually manifest through our words as well. And our tongue is described, Book of James, as short as it is, seems to be very impactful and full of so much knowledge and wisdom. It describes our tongue as a little member. When we compare it to the rest of our body, our tongue is but a little thing, and we don't really think about how strong and how powerful it is. But as small as it is, it boasts great things. And as small as it is, James describes it as a little fire. And I thought about that, a little fire. And I was like, but a spark has the power to lay waste to tall buildings and to destroy acres of forest. When you think of the forest fires that they have here in California, and you think of how much destruction and how many people lose homes and the devastation to the environment, and that could just start from just a little fire. Our words have power to cut people down, especially people that we have personal relationships with. They cut them to the core. And then James 3, verse 9 says, how can we be blessing God but cursing our brothers and our sisters with this same tongue? So he reminds us not to grumble against our brothers and sisters, because we too will be judged. I didn't want to look at that part, but that is an essential part of it, that we too will be judged. And in the Lord's Prayer, we say, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And it's a prayer that we tend to be taught from very young. And I look at even examining the relationships with even my little daughter, she's 4 years old, but I look at her capacity to forgive and her capacity to remember, and they seem to go hand in hand, and she'll remember something that you did so long ago, and I'm like, okay, but now I realize how we think about things. Forgiveness, that's something that we all have to work on, because we are actually saying this, even if it's not really thought about. Lord, forgive me as I forgive others. So this tells me not only to extend grace and mercy, but the type of grace and mercy that I expect God to extend to me, I need to extend to others. And this is not easy, especially when we know we're right and the person has done something wrong to us, but we too will be judged. Revelations 22:12 says, the Lord is coming soon, and we think of all the good things that are going to happen when God comes. There's also recompense that he brings with him to give to each of us what we have done. So when my time comes for my judgment, I want my credits to outweigh my debits. Please, God. And there's one thing that is guaranteed. John 16:33 tells us that we will all have tribulation in this world. We will go through situations. People will do and say things that may be unwarranted, unfair, dishonest. And we will feel hurt, shocked, angry, and sad. We'll feel disappointed. But God has overcome the world. And so as James 5:8 tells us, be patient. Let patience have her perfect work. This is James 1:4, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. God will bring peace to us in our times of affliction. We exercise our faith in him, and he will bring us good cheer. God will give us joy in times when we are persecuted because of our faith. And I feel like if I see it even more now, where people do question, but why do you believe this? And it's very easy, even on social media, to just feel like if you're being silenced because of your beliefs, and it's better not to say anything than to get into a whole argument or discussion, but just stand firm in our faith. It says the law is fulfilled when we love our neighbors, our brothers and our sisters as ourselves. And as Pastor Ray has been discussing with us, if we live in the Spirit, we must also walk in the Spirit. And the fruit of the Spirit, such as gentleness in the way we relate to others, long-suffering, temperance, and peace, we must exhibit these to our brothers and our sisters, not just when things are going well, but also when things are not going well and when we are afflicted. So let us not grumble against each other, but let us be patient with each other and establish our hearts in God. And I think even Sister Sheila's testimony just now, I was just like, wow, that's powerful. And it was just one statement, but she said that the doctor told her nothing is wrong with her heart. So I was just like, wow. So that when our judgment time comes and God delivers his report to us, that we will hear, just like Sister Sheila, nothing is wrong with our heart.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our message presentation. If what you have heard has been helpful to you, please tune in again or write us and let us know how this message has ministered to you. Our email address is pastor@mwctoronto.org or call us at 647-340-9252. We would love to hear from you. If you would like to support this teaching ministry, you can send a donation to our mailing address, 170 Oakwood Avenue, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, M6E-2T9. If you are in Toronto or surrounding area, our meeting place is at St. Charles Catholic School. Address is 50 Claver Avenue, Toronto. Thank you for listening.